We got a big week ahead of us. As you guys know, we're heading down to Blacksburg, which is always a really tough place to play. Playing a Virginia Tech team that is physical and has playmakers. Obviously, the defense has always been one of the very finest in the country, and so it's a tall assignment. And we have a full week ahead of us to get prepared and to put together a good plan. Just really have a lot of respect for Virginia Tech, their program. Obviously, Coach Fuente has done a fabulous job there, and he's put his stamp on that program, and you can see it everywhere. They're well coached, schematically put together very, very well. They're tough. They're physical. And as I said earlier on defense, Coach Foster's been there a long time, and the defense is always, really, really tough. Special teams, they've been outstanding, and then they have what I would call the 12th man crowd factor down there, which is big. So our preparation this week, we've got to handle the crowd noise. We've got to be able to really establish a good run game. You go on the road, you got to pack your run game, you got to pack your defense, and you got to be able to sustain and withstand the home team force. So we need to have a really strong week of preparation. We need to get our team feeling good and healthy. We came out of a very physical football game last weekend, and then march on and get ready to win number 7. So, excuse me. That's our goal. That's what we're working on right now. Looking forward to the week. And seems like the season goes by so quick. Here we are going down a home stretch. So we got to be playing our best football. I think we are. And so looking forward to another week of growth and development. Any questions?
It's Clyde Foster's lunch pail approach. What makes him such a good mind?
Well, I think, he's a guy that has a plan on how to attack offenses. Been doing it for a long time. I think he's a guy that really takes a look at what you do formationally and tendency-wise and really tries to go after that. But I think it starts with a toughness and a demeanor that he instills, esprit de corps, if you will. So just it's been pretty remarkable over the years, the level of play that they've sustained, and obviously great players. I mean, they've had some like anybody else. You got really good players, and you got a good scheme, and you can put them together good, then you can have a unit that's pretty tough. So they've been tough for a long time. I mean, I go all the way back into the early '90s when I was at Syracuse traveling down there, so fully aware of it.
Coach, what are some of the things that you can do to simulate the crowd noise or get the team ready for that? Because I know that's a pretty hostile environment. Yeah,
well, in our new indoor, we have a sound system that's probably second to none in America. I mean, it's really incredible. So we were in there last night, and we had that thing cranked up. I was giving me a headache. It was so loud. I mean, it's louder than any stadium could possibly be. And so, it's tremendous for us to use that. I got to pick my spots. We're playing outside, so I don't want to be inside all week. But we'll probably have to go inside because, the sound system that we have outside won't do what this one will do. This thing is incredible. It's deafening.
And just about coming off the Miami game and the way you guys were able to sustain drives and move the football, what were some of the things that you guys succeeded at doing that helped you along the way there?
Well, I thought we played pretty well in tempo. Our goal was to go in and play really fast, and we did. In the first half, we ran about 50 plays, had 300 yards of offense. We had drives of 12 and 16 and 9. We were able to stay on the field, and I thought we did it with a mixture of run and pass, and we had some trick plays in there, and we just kind of kept it really moving, and we were doing all those things at a really warp speed. So it really impacted their defense. And that's our goal. That's what we want to do. That's how we're going to play the game. So I thought we started with that early, and it didn't subside through the first half at all. So,
is that something that you think you'll be able to do again with Virginia Tech, or is that something you're going to try to do again against Virginia Tech's defense?
That's how we play. That's the way we want to play, and we're not going to allow them to screw their cleats in the ground, not one time. We're going to go as fast and as hard as we can, and how we attack that, we change week to week. How we decide to use our formations and styles of plays that we use, that can vary, but we're going to go fast, and we're going to within that structure is is going to be some real hardball downhill runs, some real hardball play actions, and we're going to make them defend 53 1/3. I mean, that's the way we want to play. Now, you got to go get that done. It's easier said than done. You got to get your first down. You got to stay on the field, and you got to allow that to take place, to take a foothold. So.
49-0 loss last time you went down to Blacksburg. Is there any chip on your shoulder heading into Saturday?
I mean, I don't think you forget things like that. That wasn't, I wouldn't call that one of the high moments. It's happened in many a football program and many a football team down there, and that's the impact that place can have on you. It can roll on you pretty hard. But, certainly our mindset isn't going to be about letting that happen again.
Steve, 32 carries for AJ last game. Is that somewhere you want him to be in the 30 range, or would you like to dial that back at all?
No, I wouldn't dial that back. I think we're going to, he's a great player, and we're going to feed him the ball, and that's the way it's going to go, I mean, if the number is 30, it's 30. If it's 40, it's 40. If it's, if he's struggling, maybe it's less. It's whatever the situation dictates. But we want to get the ball in the hands of the best players on the field, for sure. We had a lot of different people touch the ball in that game. We had a whole bunch, like 9 different receivers, and a lot of people touched the ball. And we're going to keep doing that. But the one constant is going to be that, he's a workhorse, and we're gonna feed him the ball. I thought what he did Saturday was remarkable, considering he'd come off that injury. He had a very significant injury, and for him to come in like that and carry, and those were physical 30 carries. I mean, those are physical. I thought he did a fantastic job with it, and he came out of that game feeling really good. So, hopefully we can stay there.
Just on a real quick, you don't forget what happened in Blacksburg a couple years ago, but there's a pocket of players like Zach, Wyatt, Michael, John, that were there. And I think AB might have been on the sidelines, but other than that, like the group, like AJ hasn't seen it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, how do you explain to them what that game was like, and then also what that stadium's like, and then what's the value of having guys who were there for that?
Well, I'm not wasting a lot of time talking about what that experience was like. I mean, it is what it is. But the understanding of what the environment is like, that's another story. We're addressing that and talking, that's real, and we're going to simulate that. And, obviously the guys that were there and the older guys understand that, if you're going to go down to a place like Blacksburg and try to take a game, you got to have a whole different mindset. And you got to have a bunch of mature guys and tough guys, and it's very, very hard to go down there and take something away from them down in their home field. That's one of the toughest places in the country, and I think our kids totally understand that. Now, we'll do the best we can to simulate that. No, we're not going to waste a lot of time talking about what happened 2 years ago, other than the fact that that it happened, and it's not something that we ever want to have happen again. But have a lot of protracted conversation wouldn't be very positive. I mean, a lot of these guys weren't even there, as you said. This is a different football team and a different time. But the fact of how hard it is to go down there and to win in that environment, that's the relevant conversation that has to be had with our team right now.
And then also, if I look at it right up there early this morning, do you guys back and forth? Like, how is that different from the first time earlier this season? You know what I mean? Like, you had the experience, like, hey, we got it, and but is there a different approach now, or is it kind of like we're back in?
Didn't address it. Kind of like I didn't address the fact that we were bowl eligible. Just didn't address it, and I'm not going to. I think our kids got a real feel for the last go around here of, if anybody, thought that any of that has any meaning or waste any time thinking about anything like that's going to help you. Well, they clearly, if they didn't know it before, they clearly know it now. That's just a poisonous punch right there now. That's not going anywhere. What's important right now is one thing. We have got to focus. Our entire focus has to be on having the ability to go down and get our 7th win. We've got to go down there in a very tough environment and extract a W from a very good football team. And that's it. everything else has got to be cleared out of the chamber. We talked about that last night. I mean, there's nothing else to think about. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else on anybody's mind. How do we collectively go down there, play our best level of football, and go extract a win in a very difficult place against a very good football team? And if anybody's got room for any other conversation than that, then they're not giving us everything they have. Simple as that, because that's how difficult this will be.
And how's Hunter? And have you sorted through, you had some nicks and knacks on that, okay?
Yeah, I mean, we were in a very physical game. We're a banged-up football team, but in my mind, I believe that we'll be ready to roll come Saturday. And like everybody else in the country this time of year, and at the level of play that we're playing at right now in terms of who we're playing, and you're going to come out of each game pretty banged up right now. Like I said, we came off of a bunch of physical games in a row, and this one was we played the #1 defense statistically in the country. They were big, they were physical, they were athletic, and our kids went after them. And I don't know what they're like, but we're banged up right now. But we're banged up, but I believe that we'll be at full strength. Yeah, I mean, he's en route to being. I would fully anticipate that we should have him. You never know. I'll find out for sure by the end of the week, but I feel confident that we'll be, if not full strength, close to it.
Steve, you touched on injuries. Talking about Virginia Tech, they're still without Josh Jackson. What have you seen from Ryan Willis so far?
Well, I mean, he can really hurt you with his feet. He's a talented guy. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. I mean, appears to be operating their offense, at a high level. And so, he'll pose a lot of challenges. Another quarterback that can run and create an extra gap with the Q runs. And so we've got to get ready for that, and put a good hard week with that stuff in with our defense.
How's Hamp become one of the leading ball hawks in the nation right now?
He's a pretty athletic, slippery guy. I mean, Hamp is, since he's been here, even as he came in as a freshman, he had a knack to make plays. He's very nimble. He's very, I call it like supple. Like he's one of those guys that, he's hard to get a clean shot on. He's an exceptional athlete.
There's a lot of young guys on the Virginia Tech offense in addition to the quarterback position. What does the offense present to you? What are you looking at for your defense? Can you add any different complexities in there to try and confuse them?
I think their offense, it's a quarterback-driven offense. I mean, it's, as I said, they have the Q runs that come off of that offense that, you got to get your fits, and the play action that comes off of it is hard to fit. And they do a great job with it. I mean, it's kind of like the wishbone teams in a way that, there's an answer for every reaction that they get defensively from you. But I think in defense, we've got to do a great job of, disguising our defense and not showing our coverage, whether, we're in 2 high, 1 high, and, disguising our fronts. And we've got to do a great job with that, not getting a beat in. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of check with me kind of stuff going on. And we've just, we've had a bunch of it this year. I think, we've got to continue to get better and improve, and we will. But having said that, we've got a pretty veteran group of guys up front. We've got to sustain our physicality. Because no matter what the offense is, penetration stops all run games. And we've got to be able to play that way up front. We've got to attack and penetrate and disrupt. And that's going to be critically important in this game.
It seems like the defense has really come together in recent weeks. How much of that has to do with the newer guys like Mike Palmer and Isaiah McDuffie stepping up?
Well, I think, Isaiah certainly has been playing a lot, and he's really developing, and it's kind of like learning as he's going right now. So he's improving each week. Mike Palmer, much the same. I think every team, every unit, as the season goes on, is believe it or not, you're still developing your personality and forming it. And I think, defensively, you're seeing that, getting comfortable with the personality of this defense. But it starts with the physicality and the intensity of how we're playing. I feel like in the last few weeks we've really picked up our intensity, and maybe that starts because early on some guys are thinking too much maybe, and now we're just playing and reacting a little bit more. So I really like the level of play that we've had over the course of the last few weeks. I think it's really come together well, and I think it's the same on offense. I mean, I thought we were playing really well on offense early, and at times we really were, but we're playing even more physically and more aggressively now. I mean, we're not just up front blocking people, we're finishing people. And it's a mindset, and I'm thrilled. I was a little nervous in the bye week that we would lose a little bit of that. Sometimes you get in a bye week, you know, you have a little momentum going, and sometimes that can get away from you just a little bit, you know. And I was a little concerned about that, but we came back into the game, and I thought we picked right where we picked up and kind of took off with that. And that was a topic of conversation we had last night was, you know, how good that taste feels and smells, you know, and to lock on to that style of play and own it and really want to drive it and continue to improve upon that. So that's something that we're really working on. And here we are now. We got to go back on the road, and you know we got to go on the road, and you got to sustain. You got to exceed that same intensity on the road. It's really hard to go on the road in this conference against a good team and get a win. People I don't think, pay enough attention and realize how hard that really is in some of these venues. And this, of course, we all know this is one of those venues. So it's going to take all of that and more, and go down there and have that kind of passionate play. So it's all part of this. It's a big psychology part of the week.
Coach, you just touched upon the schedule and the conference and how hard it is to win on the road. How much, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, how much do you enjoy the fact that the league is so tough and the fact that your permanent crossover is a team like Virginia Tech?
Yeah, our permanent crossover is VTech, and then we got to play Miami as the other one. Yeah, I know. It's great. You know, listen, as a competitor, you love the challenges of all these things, but the reality of it all is that, you know, the margin for error gets very, very small, and to sustain that week in and week out is not easy. You know, some of these conferences just aren't like that right now. The level of defense isn't like that. And then some sides of some of these conferences are so much less. And it's cyclical. It kind of is what it is. But for us, I can only speak for us. What I see right now, I mean, week in and week out, I mean, you know, we're in those battles. And then, you know, one of our non-conference games, we're traveling out to the Big Ten to go to West Lafayette to play Purdue at Purdue. So it's, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind we played, and we played Temple here, and I think everybody's seeing what Temple's doing. That was a physical football team. I mean, I guess every coach likes to stand up here and say we have one of the toughest schedules in the country, but I mean, I really like to tell you, I think we do. I mean, I challenge to see who really has got much of a tougher schedule. I mean, really. So, you know, we've got quite a road ahead of us right now. That's why you got to really focus in right now on the one thing we have, the main thing. What we have right now is Virginia Tech Saturday at 3:30 down there, and we've really got to have total focus on that. If you don't, you just boom, it's gone. It gets away from you just like that. And we've had 2 experiences with that on the road already. And you know, so you know, hopefully you grow and you mature. That it's very, very difficult to go on the road anywhere, never mind places like this, and extract a win. And you know, thank God, you know, I think we've got we're playing well right now, and I think we have some older guys, and I think we've had some experience with that right now, be it not as positive I would have liked to have had it been, but experience nonetheless. And we got to go get this thing, and so. That's just the way it is.
So you mentioned the number of receivers, maybe like it was 11 last week, at 8, 9, a lot of different times.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with the number of tight ends you guys cycle in and out.
Right.
But the responsibility of those guys, like, can you just map out how you told them they were going to be used, and how that all sort of was implemented, and how the job that Franklin has done with that group?
Yeah, I mean, Frank's done a great job with the tight ends. Our goal, I told you guys we wanted to be a 12 team so that we can stay in one grouping the whole game, so that every time you substitute, they stand over the ball. So I sometimes get irritated when I see us substituting for really no reason. I mean, not because we're changing a grouping, we're just changing a player, and it slows us down. So that's by design, to be in 12, so we can play really, really fast, and with 12, give a multiplicity of styles of offense that you can run, from the power game to the one-back game to the spread game. And so that's all by design, and then the ability to, you know, target all these guys makes the defense have to defend all of them in these multiple sets and in these multiple schemes. So that's our deal. And so we've got to be healthy at that position, which is really critical for us. And, you know, so that's been by design, and I think we have some really talented guys.
Talent's one thing, just physically, how do you guys prepare that group, like, in terms of the number of snaps they take, you know what I mean, the
Yeah.
responsibilities they have?
Well, I think the biggest thing in preparing that group is the fact that they have to block like a offensive lineman, yet you're asking them to run routes and be involved in the throw game like a receiver. So there's such a crossover training operation with those guys that is very difficult. And I think it's easy to lose sight of how fatigued they can get, because it's hard to run corner routes and crossing routes and stalk blocking the perimeter, yet at the same time you're blocking a 265, 275-pound defensive end in this conference. And so the practice structure has to be so exact, because they have to be able to handle all these different job descriptions and get practice at them. And then the physicality of it, and then the mental aspect of it. And one of the things we felt like, we could recruit tight ends here, and I think we've been right that we can. We can recruit, some tough guys to that position. And we have to have smart guys at that position, because mentally there's a lot to play in the tight end here. There's a lot going on every snap for those tight ends. They're all over the place. Just sheer alignments alone, you got to be a bright guy. And we have some real bright guys playing at that position right now. They're sharp. And that's an important deal for us. And that's kind of what makes us go. And then that allows, our quarterback, our running back, and everybody to kind of, fit into how we want to do things here. But without those tight ends, playing in 12 isn't going to do anything with you,
What did you do for the Missouri play with tight ends? Was it their first drive or whatever last week? Like, how'd that come about?
Oh, it's just, Scott and did a great job, and the offensive staff, and I think just trying to put in a bunch of different stuff in there to utilize against different defenses, whether they be misdirections, perimeter sweeps, there's all kinds of stuff going on, really. That's what I'm saying. It's mentally such a hard position to play, really, for us.
Steve, I know you guys are locked in right now, as you said, but on Friday night, fans were staying till third, fourth quarter, which hasn't always been the case. Is that something you guys have noticed, and do you feed off of that? Especially students, too.
Well, I can tell you this. The energy in the stadium on Friday night was fantastic. I mean, I just thought it was a great energy, a great atmosphere, pre-game, during the game, post-game. I thought the fan experience, I thought the energy level, the engagement was fantastic. And, I mean, it was a big-time atmosphere. And, of course, the bandana game is a big part of that. And but I thought that, if you couldn't enjoy that, if you couldn't have fun in that, then, you're probably not going to have much fun. I don't know what to tell you. But you got it all. There was great defense, great offense, great special teams. There was a big-time atmosphere. It was two good teams going after each other. Fantastic. I don't know. Someday in my next life, I'm going to come back and be one of those people in the stands and try to take all that in and enjoy it a little bit, Just like sometimes I walk down that walk and I smell, they're cooking hamburgers, and I say to myself, one day I'm going to be one of those guys over there having a burger and a beverage and just enjoying the heck out of myself, not having my stomach tied up in 13 different knots. I can't wait. That'd be a heck of a deal, man, Yelling, run this, do that, having fun, man. It's awesome. I think it's great. So Friday night here was fantastic. Friday night was fantastic. I hope every Friday night or Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening here in the Heights is every bit of that and more, because that's cool. That's fun for everybody. And I don't know what else anybody else could be doing, because that was really exciting. So you're a sports fan, you're a football fan. The next time we come home, I hope that just grows and grows and gets better and better and catches on and just becomes the culture here at BC. And that'll be really, really cool. So hope that's the way it is.